welcome to another episode of the Out of Office Club. Thank you so much again for listening. I have moved places again, but I am, of course, still in Italy. If I could tell you how often I have to go back and check my camera to make sure I'm actually recording, it is hilarious. My whole idea with this podcast was that I was just going to set it up and record, but I keep finding myself checking like 10 times if I have the right angle, if I look okay, if the camera is set up right, and then I forget if I actually pressed record, so I'll sit down and prepare, and then I have to go back and see, did I actually press record? And I'll do that about 4 times. So anyway, recording this podcast has been so much fun. This week, as you can see by the title, is all about health. Basically, every week I have to decide, okay, what am I going to talk about? And of course, I want it to be as personal, but also relatable as I can make it. And I've just noticed in the past weeks, I've struggled with the whole topic around health a lot. So I thought that would be a good thing to talk about. I always want to be as honest as possible about these topics and tell you what my experiences with it, how I feel. And I've just noticed, especially over the past month, I've struggled with health, mainly weight to be specific. I've just not been feeling as confident in myself, in my body, in how I look, how much I weigh. And I know exactly why that is. And, you know, it's normal, it happens. I'll be fine, it's not that deep. But I do think it's something interesting to talk about because, I don't know, I haven't seen much about it, I think, online. Of course, there's a lot of talk about health in general and fitness and how to stay healthy and what to do. And I just want to talk a bit more about what that looks like as a digital nomad, as someone who travels full time, because I can say from experience that it is quite different. And I personally struggle with it. I know for some it might be easier, for some it might be harder. So I wanted to give my view on health and specifically just more like fitness and exercise and eating right related to in combination with full-time travel. Because as you probably know, I started traveling 10 years ago when I was 18. And something I don't think I have told before, but when I was 18, I would say I was quite shy. Oh, I know I was quite shy. I was very shy. Not very confident in my body, in my looks. Confident in myself and what I could do, but not so much in what I looked like. I will say, quite skinny. I exercised a lot because I played tennis almost every day by then. I lived at home, so eating healthy was quite easy. You know, I could eat whatever my parents made or bought. I didn't cook much myself. Like, it was easy. Then I traveled and suddenly I could do whatever. Before that, I had also not lived on my own. So I really went from just living, you know, with my parents and their habits and their food and eating habits and a lot of sports to traveling on my own for 7 months. I had absolutely the best time. But during those 7 months, I gained around 20 to 25 kilos, which is a lot for someone who I think at that time weighed like 60. I'm 173, 75 to be centimeters, just to give some context. So that was a lot. I gained a lot of weight, and I don't know, it might sound a bit strange, but I didn't mind at that time. Of course, was it good for my confidence in that moment? Definitely not. But I also knew, okay, I've gained a lot of weight because I have been eating like crap. Like, I knew why, right? I've been eating a lot and a lot more than I would at home. I've been drinking a lot, lots more than I would at home as well. And that combination, and also I think the last month and a half, well, I was a lot less active because I was in a place where it was raining a lot and it was quite cold. So I just wasn't as outdoors and as active as I normally would have been. And that resulted in me gaining 25 kilos, which was quite evident. You know, I came home and people were commenting on it. It was hard to ignore, and I don't blame those people, but it's also not very nice to comment on someone's weight. But yeah, I was also very clear on that. Like, I wasn't blind to it. So when someone was like, oh, you've gained a lot of weight, I was like, yeah, I know. So I went traveling for 7 months. I had the best time. I didn't say no to anything. And weirdly enough, after, when I just kind of accepted that, it actually helped me with my confidence, which might sound, again, a bit weird. In that moment, I felt insecure about having gained that much weight, but afterwards I actually felt more secure because I realized, you know what, I still look good. You know, I am still pretty. I'm still fine. So then when I did lose the weight, I felt more confident than I had before because I wasn't happy with how I looked when I weighed 60 kilos. Suddenly I was 80 or 85. And I realized I am still beautiful. You know, I'm still fine. This is, you know, it really is not that deep. It does not matter that much. Of course, I wanted to lose the weight just because I noticed that it impacted how active I was and could be. And it kind of affected my day-to-day in some ways. I just noticed things didn't fit as well. Shopping was harder. And I, of course, wasn't as confident. But then losing the weight, which I didn't do through any diet, or I just ate again like a normal person, like I normally would have at home. I worked in hospitality, so I was walking all day, every day, a lot for work. I started exercising again, just normal routines, you know, that I had completely ignored and lost while I was traveling. And then in less than a year, I think just a couple months, I lost all of that because that for me was not my normal weight. It's not my normal habits. So I slowly lost that again. And that to me was fine. It wasn't about losing that super quickly, or, you know, it wasn't a big focus. But somehow when I did lose then a bit of that weight, I did feel more confident than I did before I gained all that weight. And knowing that, I was a lot more conscious of my habits in my next trips. So after that, again, went traveling for 3 to 4 months, and I was a lot more aware of this. Like, okay, I can't just go and now say yes and do anything that I want and eat everything just because I'm traveling. That's not sustainable. That doesn't make any sense. But of course, every time I did go on a trip, especially because it was a longer trip that I knew had a deadline, I was a bit more relaxed with exercising, with eating healthy, with all of that. So it was gain a bit of weight, come back, lose all the weight. And I think that's just life as well. There's not really, you know, that's part of life. But doing that while traveling, not great, I think. And especially now that I am traveling full time, it is not something I can ignore. You know, I shouldn't at least go a couple months and just go, oh, but I'm traveling, because that's just my life. I'm always traveling. There's always reason for me not to go, and not to go to the gym or not to eat healthy. And I will say the last couple months, I've struggled with that quite a lot. So before I went full-time digital nomad, I was living in one place in Germany, and I went to the gym 3-4 times a week. Also with an ex-partner, so that made it a bit easier, but I was active enough. I was focused on that. It was easy. As soon as I left Germany, I struggled with it. For a long time, I did yoga almost every day, which I loved. But slowly, I kind of lost touch with that. For a while, I then did some home workouts that I really enjoyed, just like dancing or at-home Pilates or just weights, or which I did like, but never enough to stick with it, I think. But it was an easy thing to do at home without too much preparation, without needing any tools. And then last year, when I was in Japan, I got into going to the gym and actually having my own kind of gym, what do you call that? I don't know. Gym routine. And that made it a lot more fun for me. And I actually did go to the gym religiously for 3 to 4 weeks, for 3 to 4 times a week for about 6-7 months, like all the way till about this year, March, I would say. So starting last year, when was that? May, June. So for like a good amount of time. And I felt really good. I felt really confident. I'd lost some weight. I'd gained some muscles. Like I thought I looked really good. I was confident. And then this year, after I left Peru, that kind of crumbled. In the last couple months, I have not been very consistent with exercising in general. Definitely not going to the gym, but exercising in general, even just at home, I've found a lot harder. And I think that's also because I've been moving a bit faster. As I said in my last podcast, I love traveling slow. And it's the whole period of time where I've traveled very slowly, I was able to have my routine and find a gym that I liked and then go there often. Right now, I don't really have that. I've not specifically chosen the places I stay based on whether or not there's a gym nearby, which I think I should have. I think that's just easier. I'm also lazy, so if a gym is not very close by, I won't go, and I know that about myself. So I should have just picked places that had a gym closer, probably. But I will be honest, I also didn't really have the motivation. As I explained, and I've been, I think, quite open about, in April, roughly, I lost most of my clients, which meant I lost a lot of my income. I suddenly almost basically had no income, and I for a long time lived off of my savings, which of course is very stressful, not good for your self-confidence, it's not good for your motivation, it is very tough. There's a lot of stress that I then had just for work, to find clients, to make it work, to still have money to travel, to not, run through all my savings, and that's been really tough. And I think that's also why going to the gym for me has been on a lower priority. And for me, then food comes in as well. I love a sweet treat. I am very much someone who loves anything to do with sugar, chocolate, cookies, you name it, love it. Desserts, I think I live for that. So yeah, it's been hard to then and not have the gym routine and the motivation to pick it up because I've been distracted and stressed about work. And then to also not eat that healthy, because I do tend, like when I am stressed, I do tend to reach for comfort food, right? Which isn't the best. And I've been trying to be a bit more aware of this. But for a while I was like, oh, you know what? Who cares? I'm going to eat all these cookies and I'll be fine, and then feel horrible about it. Everyone knows this loop, right? So that's not been great. And I think I've now come to a point where it's time for me to stop feeling sorry for myself and actually take my ownership back and, give myself some push to go back to the gym again, start caring about my health. Because I also know when I work on myself, like on my health, and I eat well, I feel better. I have, of course, more motivation. I have more confidence. And it's a bit this loop that I find myself in often, or not often, but once, twice a year, which is very tough because on one hand, I don't have the motivation to exercise, to eat right, because I'm stressed and I want to do other things. And then I try and make myself feel better by eating unhealthy food. While on the other hand, I know that if I wouldn't do that, I would feel better. I would be more confident. I have more motivation. So it's a bit this struggle, this inner struggle of eating healthy versus and actually feeling better, doing the harder thing first, basically, instead of just comforting yourself, doing the easy thing, which is giving in to laziness and sweet treats. And that's something I've struggled with for the past couple months. And I know it's not easy to eat healthy in general and to exercise often. When you live in one place, it's already difficult, but then when you're also moving around a lot and every time having to adapt to a new place, a new routine, new eating habits, new food even. I mean, I'm now eating Italian food and before I was eating Greek food, so I had to figure out, okay, well, what do they have in the supermarkets? What can I make? Restaurants open so late here that it's tough. And then also supermarkets are closed in the afternoon. Like it's, every time you just have to get used to this new way of living, which also makes it tough. Where I'm staying right now, I've not been able to find a gym close by. So I don't really know. Like I would love to go back to the gym again and pick that back up. But it's hard when you move around constantly. And that is, again, why I think I'm such a fan of slow travel. Something else that is difficult is when I'm back in the Netherlands, I don't go out for dinner. Ever, really. Like once a week would be a lot, just because one, it is very expensive, and two, it's just, why would you if you just cook at home, right? Even if I meet my friends, we go for a drink, or we even meet at someone's place and just everyone brings food because it's a lot. It's generally nicer to do that than to go out for dinner and spend money and then having to go there and all of that. But now when I'm traveling, of course, because you also meet a lot of people, it's a lot easier to just go and meet someone at a restaurant and then go out for dinner, or even the dinners I've got planned like on Wednesday. Like it's a way to meet people, it's a way to connect with people. It's something that just happens a lot. Oh, we're all going out for food, do you want to come? And then it's very hard to say no. And it's also, but if you do go, it's very hard to stay healthy, because as anyone who's done any diet ever, you know that the best thing you can do when you're on a diet is eat at home. You know for sure what's in the food, you've made it, you know how many calories it's got. And if you go out for dinner, you just don't know how they prepare it. You don't know exactly what's in it. It must be probably as delicious, but you just don't know exactly what you're eating. So it's then a lot harder to, if you want to be on a diet or you want to lose some weight, to do that and eat out every day or every other day. So it's a bit of the social pressure as well. Of course, if I'm, I go through phases where I also don't go out for dinner as much because I just don't feel like it, where I don't drink any alcohol. And then I go through phases where I go out a bit more and I do have a drink every now and then. So yeah, that also comes into play, because of course then it's a lot harder to stay to your own routines because the people around you change and have their own routines, while if you have your friends at home, they have their own habits and routines that are probably more in line with yours, or a bit easier to manage because you know you can see them any weekend and not just once or twice. So I think in general it is important to accept that with this lifestyle, staying healthy and following your habits with that is going to be challenging. It's not easy. I think you need to find ways to stay active. Like the one thing you could always do anywhere is walk. So in general, not always, but I do try and walk. There have been periods where just every day I'd go for a walk, or at least I start my day with just 20 minutes of yoga. But at least I feel like I've moved my body, I've been active, especially because when I work a lot, I just sit the whole day. I sit behind a desk, generally on not the best office chair because I'm just in an Airbnb. They just have normal dining chairs that are not very comfy, which I think is awful for your body. And try and find an Airbnb with a kitchen so you can cook, which luckily here I can, although I haven't done that so much. It's, building your routine then as well. So trying to find an Airbnb that is close to a gym, or staying in a spot where you know there's a gym close by, or there's even just a yoga studio, or just your co-working has weight, whatever it is, or maybe even the Airbnb has weights. I've stayed in Airbnbs where they offered a yoga mat or they had weights, which was amazing. And it's also knowing that, yes, it's hard, but it's so important. And I've kind of given myself, I think, a bit too much room to let that go. And it's time to pick that back up. Like, Oh, I know in the past 2-3 months I've gained weight. You know, if I look back at videos, like especially my first video, which was recorded in May, I think, June, I know I've gained weight and I'm not happy about it. And I feel less confident. I feel less good about myself. But that's all my own fault. And it's also something I can easily fix if I just try. So I try not to make it, you know, I don't want it to impact me because weight is not everything and it's not that important. It's not just about weight though. It's about doing what is good for your body, which is working out, you know, staying healthy, exercising, lifting weights, eating right, you know, it's something that's important regardless of what your lifestyle is, and it's important for everyone. And it's easy to let that go and forget when you're traveling full time. So let this just be, you know, I don't know. No, it's not a warning. It's my tips, right? If you want to travel full time, keep that into account. It's going to take a bit of extra effort and extra time to build these habits, build that routine, and also stick to it. And accept that it will never be perfect and not beat yourself up about it too much. I will find my way back into a good routine, into good habits, eating a bit better, living a bit healthier. Maybe not this month, but maybe next month. I'm going to try. I'm going to get back into it and I'll be okay. I don't want it to impact like me, or I don't want it to impact me too much mentally, because it's easy to feel bad about what you look like and your weight and let that influence you, which of course I have also a lot. I think also for women it's just difficult. Anything to do with weight, body image is constantly a struggle. But I don't know. I also know it's just not that deep and it's not that important. And what is important is that I'm healthy and I'm happy. And in order to be that, I do need to exercise, I need to move my body, and I need to eat right. And as long as that's my focus, I will do it, because it's not my focus to look hot. I want to feel good and be healthy. And I think that is the mindset that I need to have, and then I'll be okay. But yeah, that is what I've been struggling with for the past month, 2 months. And I am going to try my best to get back into that routine. If you have any insights, tips, things that you've noticed that work for you, please let me know. I've been also on my other podcast episode about safety. I got a lot of good comments and DMs from both men and women, which I really appreciated. Men asking, hey, if I do this, would that be okay? Or how can I actually help? And also women chiming in with things they've noticed while traveling. And I really want to have these, you know, conversations. So if you have any tips or insights or how you felt in regards to health in general or while traveling, please let me know. I hope that you can maybe relate to this, get something out of it, understand that it's a struggle regardless, I think, of your lifestyle and what you do. And then I really hope to see you again next week. If you enjoyed it, please, of course, like, subscribe, whatever, leave a review, a comment, anything. It really helps. I really enjoy making these podcasts. So I will see you again next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.